When news broke about Kate Middleton's cancer diagnosis, it sent shockwaves around the globe. It was a high-profile health crisis dominating headlines for weeks. Thousands of miles away, the global shipping industry found itself entirely paralyzed as massive vessels logjammed the Suez Canal, crippling international trade. And along the coasts, devastating hurricanes were violently wiping out entire towns, leaving behind billions in structural damage and ruined livelihoods. A growing online community interprets these tragedies as tactical, highly coordinated battles in a massive, hidden global war. This sprawling worldview insists that all of these events, from royal health scares to maritime disasters, are actually symptoms of a single conflict fought over the suppression of one specific plant, cannabis. To understand how millions of people have adopted this theory, we have to map out its internal logic. We have to look closely at how a community of online theorists manages to connect a simple garden plant to highly orchestrated weather warfare. The foundation of this belief system rests on the idea that cannabis is a divine, intentionally suppressed medicine. Proponents frequently point to biblical texts, claiming that Jesus himself used highly concentrated cannabis oil to perform his legendary healing miracles. If the plant is divine, the theory requires a powerful antagonist to keep it hidden. Believers point to an elite operating system made up of Big Pharma and the Illuminati, a supposed secret society of global power brokers working together to eradicate the medicine. According to the lore, this elite system actively forces the public into a perpetual cycle of fear and sickness. When people get sick, the system intentionally ignores natural plant remedies, pushing them instead toward aggressive, highly toxic chemotherapy treatments. By suppressing cheap, natural alternatives, this network creates a lucrative medical monopoly. The global population is kept dependent, perpetually paying into a healthcare infrastructure that actively wants them to remain unwell. Within this worldview, the historical criminalization of cannabis has absolutely nothing to do with public safety or drug policy. It is viewed strictly as a calculated mechanism for elites to maintain total economic and biological control over human health. But running a global shadow government is expensive. The theory claims that to fund their sprawling operations, these same elites hypocritically run massive, secret underground cannabis farms to sell on the black market. These illicit agricultural hubs are allegedly hidden far from public view, buried deep beneath sprawling old money country estates, and integrated seamlessly into major agricultural zones around the world. Believers look at recent real-world events, like the massive tractor blockades led by European agricultural workers, and interpret them differently. They argue these farmers are actually protesting because they are being forced to act as unwitting gatekeepers for hidden cartel operations. Because growing plants underground requires immense artificial light and climate control, these secret farms pull staggering amounts of electricity. When regional power grids inevitably fail and cause localized blackouts, theorists claim it is the cartel's energy drain, falsely blamed on aging infrastructure. This entire operation is directly linked back to historical organized crime. The community insists that the exact same mafia syndicates prosecuted in the 1980s simply evolved, donning suits and taking over the underground agricultural sector. So the elites allegedly fund their dark, overarching global system by controlling the black market sale of the exact same healing plant they publicly outlawed. This brings us to the climax of the theory. When a severe natural disaster strikes, believers reject the concept of a shifting climate. Instead, they see highly engineered military strikes deliberately targeting these subterranean cartel farms. The theory suggests that allied military forces execute this weather control by utilizing 5G networks, fifth-generation cellular technology, to pinpoint the massive heat signatures and energy grids of the hidden cartel bases. Catastrophic hurricanes and sudden floods are deployed to drown out subterranean cartel operations and destroy their valuable illicit crops. This logic is applied retroactively to older news, too. Theorists view the Ever Given blocking the Suez Canal as a high-stakes secret white hat bust of cartel shipping lanes. A specific faction of the military, often closely associated with Donald Trump, is entirely responsible for orchestrating this weather warfare. Their goal is to systematically bankrupt and defeat the Illuminati. By adopting this highly specific logic loop, believers take the chaotic existential dread of modern climate disasters and absorb it into a comforting narrative. A terrifying hurricane becomes a righteous, perfectly controlled military purge. The massive web they've built is dizzying. Jesus and ancient medicine are directly tethered to big pharma, cartels, 5G towers, hurricanes, and shipping delays. The architecture operates on apophenia, seeing meaningful patterns in random information, absorbing unrelated modern anxiety into one unified system. If you listen to the influencers driving this movement, their emotional core is remarkably consistent. They constantly urge their followers to stay calm in the face of disaster, insisting that everything is under control and that they just need to trust the plan. There is profound psychological comfort found in this belief. For many, it is significantly less terrifying to believe a hurricane is a meticulously controlled military asset than to accept that the climate is chaotic, random, and completely out of our hands. The ultimate promise keeping people invested is the impending Great Awakening. Followers are assured that if they just hold on, the good guys will eventually secure a definitive world-saving victory, and the healing plants will be free for everyone. This grand conspiracy functions as a powerful psychological coping mechanism, transforming a terrifyingly random universe into a predictable movie with a guaranteed happy ending.